You're now listening to Directing Magic with your host, Marquette Jones.
Hello, this is Marquette Jones. I'm here with the Directing Magic podcast, and my wonderful guest for today is my new bestie, although she doesn't know it yet, Katrina Nelson. She's a writer, producer, director, and brand new stand-up comedian.
Hi everyone. Thank you for having me, bestie.
I just met her today. But she was recommended to me from Abby Harris, who is also a producer here in Los Angeles. Katrina, what kind of producing do you do? What type of projects do you work on?
I started out working on web series like in 2010, 2011.
Mm-hmm. Anything
short
that we've
films.
heard of?
I worked with Karen Hayes, who had Breaking Point,
Mm-hmm.
and that was like 2 seasons. And then I produced another web series called The Enemy, or The N and Me. You can find that on YouTube.
What is the N?
The nigger and me.
Okay. It's that kind of showy. No, it's censored.
Well, it's very kind of it's a comedy, of course. We have a couple of stand-up comedians that are in it. I don't know if you know Tyree Elaine.
Mm-mm.
Okay, so anyway, it's about a guy who is working for the man, so to speak, and his inner self is talking to him. So yeah, it's kind of it's very funny.
Does he do like one of those like stand next to himself and say crazy stuff? Or?
Yeah, well, they're played by 2 different people, but they're supposed to be the same person.
Gotcha. So like Obama's angry man.
Exactly.
Gotcha.
Exactly.
Wait, what was it was Obama's something, but it's not angry man, was it?
I can't think of what his name was, but it's sort of that gist of one person's perspective and as opposed to the other person's real perspective. So
gotcha. So the 2 web series and then some short films as well.
Yeah, I did a couple of short films. I worked on a feature when I first moved here, but it took like about 5 years to actually come together. So I kind of I figure I started from the bottom as a PA and then worked my way up. And then the last couple of few years I've been working for Walt Disney.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So
how is Disney?
Disney is Disney. No, I've been working off and on since probably 2005. I first started working for Disney in Buena Vista Films,
mm-hmm.
and then they had that big layoff and then the strike, and so then I kind of segued over to anti-piracy. Film.
You go after the bootleggers.
Well, we did, and that was kind of fun.
I'm down with going after the bootleggers. I'm not even. I'm dead serious. If you bootleg my movie, I will cut you. I'm from Ohio, Youngstown to be specific, and I'm here to tell you that I have people bootlegging short films in Youngstown, Ohio. So.
Really? Oh, wow.
I'm so serious. But God bless Youngstown, hustle, love it. Mm-hmm.
Well, yeah, so I worked in anti-piracy and then segued over to ABC. And so I was at ABC until 2013. So now I'm kind of I'm floating all around. I've been to a lot of the different networks. I guess you would call it temping now. So,
gotcha.
And I kind of like it. So it kind of gives me an opportunity to see all of the different departments and all of the different studios. And so, because my goal one day is to actually run my own studio.
Okay.
So
a whole studio?
Whole studio. You hear me, Lord? You hear me, Lord?
Say it. I think you need to go ahead and be specific with them. So what are we talking about? What kind of studio?
We're talking about an actual studio that will do the gamut of developing projects, distributing projects, the whole thing. So from television to film. So,
So the reason why I'm asking her to be specific is because I really, truly believe that words have power.
No,
and
yes.
so part of the reason why I like to ask people what their next plans are and that kind of stuff is we put that out there and we don't know where it's going to go. And somebody somewhere might hear it or will hear it and be like, hey, I have the thing that you need.
This is true. So, yeah, let me say it one more time. Run my own studio, the whole thing. But I will say, because we were talking earlier about me doing stand-up comedy, which came out of the blue.
Yes. Okay. So background, my new bestie who walked into my life today and said, yeah, I just started doing stand-up comedy. And I'm like, huh, how did that happen?
Well, it was very organic. A friend of mine that I was working with, he said that I was funny, and I'm like, oh, okay. And he said that I reminded him of Lonnie Love, and so I didn't know how to take that. Like, I'm like, okay,
Love
I'm
you, Lonnie.
fat, black. Like, is that the correlation that we're going with? He was like, no. I was like, she is funny. He was like, no, I think that you're funny, and I think you should do stand up. So I'm like, okay. It went in one ear and went out the other. So one night, a friend of mine asked me to go to see Cedric the Entertainer, and I'm like, cool. So we went to the show, and I won because they give out, gifts and stuff and raffles at the end of the show. And so I won a intermediate comedy class. Mm-hmm. Now I'm saying comedy class. These people are taking comedy classes. Like, I know comedy writing classes, but I didn't know you took stand-up comedy classes. So I went to the class, had a good time. People were telling me that I was funny, and I'm still shook, like, get the hell out of here. Like, really? So then after that, I took a 6-week stand-up comedy class at Flappers. And at the end of the 6 weeks, you do like a showcase. And so I killed it.
Yeah.
It was so surprising.
It's on YouTube, you guys, if you want to check her out. I'm
dirty though.
Today, and I want to talk to you about that. That's literally written
I'm
down.
dirty.
She's not dirty, but she has a potty ass mouth. Like, I was like, oh, okay. So I need to put the little E on the podcast in advance for her because she likes to curse.
I'm trying not to curse now. So.
She did a whole thing about how her great grandmama cursed. And I was like, oh.
I come from a long line of cussers. Like, that's our fame. What our claim to fame. That's our thing. We have a crest in cursing.
You're from Baltimore, right?
Yes, Baltimore, Maryland.
So do you guys say curse or cuss?
We say cuss.
Cuss. So
like, I'll cuss you the out.
Okay. Okay, I'm sorry. Okay, we're so off track, but it's cool. So you also wrote and directed a short film called The Wake.
I did.
And it's starring Crystal Cotton, who is a fellow Youngstown girl.
Yay! I love Crystal.
She's such an amazing actress. So
she really is. Mm-hmm. She's like, I don't think that she gets the just due that she's amazing. It was wonderful to work with her again because I worked with her on another project. But she's such a professional. She's just a beautiful person inside and out.
Mm-hmm. She really is inside and out. I'm like, dang, you're stunning. I'ma still like you though. It's cool. But yeah, so tell us about The Wake. Sorry.
So The Wake is a project that I had been wanting to do, but I wanted to have someone else write it because there's some truths in it from my own life. And so I've kind of borrowed from my life and other people's lives. It's basically the taboo story of molestation in a family, which is a topic that a lot of people don't like to talk about. So it's about a woman, 25-year-old woman, who comes home after being estranged from her family for a few years to the funeral of her stepfather, who is the molester. And so in a Black family, we react to certain things differently. And I can say that, I'm going to put it out on YouTube. It's on there, but it's not listed. If you type The Wake in my name, you might find it. But it's basically what they go through that day after the wake, after the funeral, and trying to talk about this issue that they have between her and her mom.
Gotcha. So so one of the things I noticed is that you put the caption at the end that like this is totally fictional and not, any similarities, all of that language. But then you just said there's some truths in it. So,
well, it's some truths. When I say truths in it, for different people and people's lives, because a lot of people, it's just one of those things within our community that we don't talk about. No. That we, it's almost like we're ashamed to talk about it. But I think once we do, then we'll have more healing. For me, it just was, I'll tell a little bit of my story, but I was a victim of molestation when I was a child. And I never felt guilty about it, but I never understood why. And we never had the conversation until I was 25. And so that's when the conversation happened.
And did you feel better after the conversation?
Well, there was no resolve after the conversation because like the movie, after you have the conversation, there are no other conversations unless you go to a therapist and then you talk and then you hash it out then. But for some reason in our, I feel like the reasoning that I feel that we have is because of, everything goes back to slavery. You're told to keep secrets, and that's what we do. We keep secrets very well. And so I just wanted to be able to bring this issue to the forefront and kind of have some dialogue about it, because we do need to start having these conversations for these uncles and these aunts and all of these different family members who may also have a problem, because sometimes it's generational. A person who was molested might become the molester. So until we have these conversations, there may not be any, resolve or heal.
Do you, there was one line, or maybe I imagined it. Okay, so,
What was it? Was it the mother who said that it happened to her as well?
Yeah, and like just deal with it or something like that?
Basically, yeah.
I was like,
because
wait. I was like, I've heard that before.
Right.
That's why I was like, maybe I made it up, but it did happen in the movie, right?
It happened in the movie, and it's like, and even at the end, it's like you just go on like it didn't even happen, because those are the conversations that's tough, especially between a mother and a daughter, and it's your husband who did that,
right?
And
she did not want to deal. Your mom character was like,
she didn't want to deal with it.
Where's my drink?
Because it's painful. Because we don't find out until we know that it happened to her, and she had nobody to turn to. She didn't have anybody to talk to about it. So it's sort of like you just sweep it under the rug and you act like it didn't even happen.
So in terms of you and making the film, did you get any healing out of that process?
Well, I that's a good question. I had a conversation with a woman who's also a producer, but she's producing commercials at the time. But I was recommended to her, and I wanted her to write it. And she said to me, she was like, "You need to write that. You need to just get it all out, because you know exactly what you want to say." Right. So I'm like, okay. But I had to kind of like get strength to kind of say and pour out exactly what I wanted to say.
Sure.
If I was in that position to say that to my mother or whoever that was. And so I guess there was a part of me that, felt relief to just get it out and let's move on. And I even had conversations with my mom about it. So
I was going to ask, yeah.
Yeah, so it did open up some dialogue for us as a family. And, so it was a relief at that point. So, yeah.
Has your family, on a whole, seen the movie yet?
My mom has seen the movie. She loved it. My brothers, my sisters saw the movie. And, some people were crying, and I'm like, I love to laugh. And I'm like, yeah, it makes you a little sad, but some of it was just funny to me. So, but yeah, my dad has seen it. So he didn't really say much about it. But for the most part, yeah, a few of the family members have seen it. So,
and so they either don't say anything or they love it?
Right.
Gotcha. So what's next for the film?
Right now we're putting it in some film festivals. My manager wants me to turn it into like a full feature. We'll see what happens. But I'm also working on a comedy feature because I love to laugh. I love comedy. So we'll see what happens. I'm just waiting to see because I know it's a tough subject and people don't want to talk about it. I even had conversations with the founders of Pan African Film Festival about submitting it. Yeah, Babu. And so he was like, just submit it. And I was like, yeah, no, but it's very tough. And, you know, I've submitted it to at least maybe like 15 festivals and we just haven't gotten in. So I'm like,
really?
And so he was like, well, if you submit
it's nicely done.
I don't know if it's the subject, but then again, I'm like, you know what? I'm just a firm believer that whatever God has for me is going to be for me. So wherever it's supposed to go or whatever it's supposed to do, it's going to happen. So I know that it's tough and people don't want to talk about it. And I know that the language, it's language for the people in Baltimore talk. Have you ever heard Monique talk?
Yes.
Have you ever heard Jada pre-Will Smith? Have you ever heard, you know what I mean? Like it's, you know.
And that was what I wanted to know craft-wise. I'm like, she really likes to curse in this movie. Like you really let people go and sound natural in that way.
That was the point. And I made sure that all of the actors, I'm like, you know, I'm not one of those people that stick to lines. You don't have to stick to the line. But what you do need to do is I need you to be real in the moment. That's it. Just be real in that moment. And so my girlfriend who played the mom, she's actually from Baltimore, Alana Barksdale.
Really good. Yeah.
She's amazing. Yeah. She's amazing. And I'm praying that so much happens for her. And but between her and Crystal, like I love their dynamic together. Like they gave me exactly what I asked for. And so I'm proud of it, and whatever happens with it, but I'm hoping that people get to see it and be moved by it, to have conversations about it. Because, you know, even like Nicki Minaj is going through this same process with her brother, who is accused of molesting his 12-year-old stepdaughter.
And she's sticking by him, too.
Right. So it's not something that's made up. These things happen, but people don't talk about it. And they don't want to talk about it because I guess it's shameful on a family to find out.
Do you think that's what's stopping them, though? Because, I mean, not that specific thing, not the molestation thing, but like in my family, I find that everyone's so tough.
Right.
So they don't want to get into like the vulnerable pieces of scenarios. You know what I mean? Like it's not the shame. It's just like, I got it. We don't need to talk about this. Let's just keep going. You got to get up. You got to go. You got to keep moving forward.
Yeah, I can see that, but still in the process of moving forward, you're going to stop at some point, and you need to have the conversations to let it out, or it's going to fester inside of you. And that cause stress, that can cause cancer, many disease, all of these things. And so we as a community, not just us as a community, just people in general, you need to have these conversations to let it out. And especially when it happens to you as a child, because I watch Ayanla, things that happen, that's traumatic. And if it happens to you at 5 years old, which it happened to me up until I was 12, it's like, and then, you know what I mean? You don't talk about these things. And if your household has, a lot of violence, you don't speak about it because you don't want to incite any violence within that house. You know what I mean? So I just, and that was the whole point, is I wanted to get that demon out, which, I've had my own bouts with why did it happen to me and, these things. And, but I'm like, you know what? It made me a stronger person. It made me not take any from nobody. I really want to say that word so bad.
You can. You can. We can put the E on it.
I don't take no shit from anybody. And it's like, that's just something a hurdle that I had to go through. So how can I help other people or other people with kids or, adults that have went through this as children, that there could be people walking around near you and you don't even know because they won't even talk about it. Because some people do feel shame. Like, is it my fault? What did I do?
But we know that it's not their fault. No, it's no child's fault.
Exactly. So, but I'm hoping that, it will do exactly what it's supposed to do. And then I'll just, let it be and keep it moving.
Well, I'm excited for you. I'm excited that you made the movie, that you've moved into directing.
Thank you.
That's really cool.
I had a wonderful, I will say this, I've worked with some great cinematographers, and directing is not easy at all.
No, it's not.
It's not easy at all.
People think it is, but I promise you it's not.
It's not. You have to have a great team around you. I mean, you have to start with a great script, and actors, but you still have to have a cinematographer who has a great eye, you know what I mean, and knows exactly what he's doing. And so Chris Adkins, he was my cinematographer, and he was so wonderful.
I love when you can say that.
Well, he was a one-man team.
Oh, wow.
It was just him and the sound guy. That's it.
Wait. Are you serious?
I am dead serious. We shot that in one day. And Chris is amazing.
Okay, I don't have any sound effects, but I feel like we all just need to...
We shot it in one day, and Chris, I would love to just let everybody know Chris Atkins is the truth. This guy has a great eye. He has a great personality. Everybody loved him. The cast loved him. He was such a joy to work with. But he brought all his own equipment. He was grip. He was camera. He was everything. And then I had a sound guy.
That's wonderful. Yeah. You're like, I'm just telling this story. That's what we're doing right now.
He was amazing. Like, there's a couple of people that I've worked with. There's another guy I've worked with, Adam Shearer, who's, you just want to surround yourself with wonderful people. That's all. You know what I mean? So.
Wait. We got sound effects. Yay! Oh, awesome. Rock star podcast studio. She just was like, oh, we have sound effects. Excuse me.
This place is wonderful.
I love it. Okay, so I'm sorry. That totally off track. I'm sorry. You were saying someone else was wonderful.
Well, I was just saying another cinematographer that I work with, Adam Shearer, who's also amazing. He has a great eye. Like, I call them my movie husbands.
We all need those. I have a harem. Did I say that? I did.
You did say harem. Yes.
Okay. So we talked about the natural language. We talked about you applying to festivals right now. And going back to the stand-up comedian stuff, what is attractive about that for you right now?
You know what? I used to be shy. Yeah. I was shy when I was young, because, you don't really know what to say, especially because of the trauma that I went through as a kid. But I was always very observant, and I've always loved television. Like, you can put me in front of the TV all day, I'm good. But as I've gotten older, I'm more vocal. Because again, I'm not taking any shit from anybody, and I'm going to say whatever the hell I want to say. And so that makes me want to do stand up more, because there's so many things that I want to say. You know what I mean? And I'm not here to tear anybody down, but just to see, to have people look at a different perspective on things. So I think that's what's very attractive for me. My friends told me that I could be the female version of a Chris Rock or a George Carlin, because I have those types of conversations with them. And so
you're like too much real. That's
basically.
I gotcha. Okay.
And so I'm trying to balance all of that out with my, with my comedy. So I'm working on writing and trying to talk about real stuff, but not tearing anyone down, if that makes any sense. So it's like, I've lived so many lives, and one of my monikers is Cat has 9 lives, because I literally have...
because Katrina could get it.
Yeah, I've literally, like, I've been in the military, I've worked for the government, like, I've done a lot of different things. Like, I've drove boats and operated cranes and just all kinds of stuff.
Wait,
so I have a lot of experience.
You operated a crane?
Mm-hmm. A 5-ton crane, yeah.
Okay.
So I used to, I used to live on a ship. I used to work on a ship.
I was like, let me back up. Did I hear that right? Okay.
So, yeah. So when I went in the military when I was young, like 18, 19. Mm-hmm. And so I was stationed in San Diego. And so I lived on a ship for like 4 years. So I was on 2 different ships. And of course, I'm doing all of the male jobs, which I love, because I love a challenge. So I used to operate the ship and drive boats and operate cranes and stuff. And so I'm taking all of those things too, all of my real life experiences, I'm bringing to the stage.
Well, where can people see you perform?
I'm mainly at Flappers. And please go to my Instagram. I am Katrina Nelson, on Instagram. And so I've been posting a lot of different stuff because I am a little silly sometimes.
Just a little.
But I like having fun. That's my whole point. Like, I'm not here to tear anybody down, mistreat anybody. My whole point of life is I want to have fun, but I don't want to be bogged down with bullshit. You know what I mean? Like, and if people are doing
what do you mean by that bogged down by bullshit part?
Meaning I don't want to be involved in no unnecessary drama.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Like,
only the necessary shit.
Only the necessary shit. Got it. But I've been through, I've been married, I've been divorced. So it's like, I think, and I'm 51. So.
And she does not look it.
And so I am bringing my half a century shit to the table.
I want you guys to Google her, because I've been staring at her like.
Oh, yes, I'm 51.
Bravo.
66, baby, 66. So I've been around for like a half a century. It boggles my mind too. I'm like, bitch, you know a lot of shit going on around. But yeah, so, I'm sorry. I like to curse. So if you come out to see me, I'm going to be cursing, trust me. But I like to have fun though. And I love hanging out with my friends, and I love meeting new people. I'm so glad to have met you. So.
See, I told you guys we were going to be besties. Did I not tell you at the beginning? See?
Because it's
Thank
all
you
about
very much.
Helping people. And you know what I mean? Like, who do you need to talk to, or what do we need to do? And just trying to uplift people, but still at the same time, calling people out on their bullshit like Chris Rock does. You know what I mean? So,
one quick thing about her Instagram page, which is that I've been following it for the last few weeks, trying to kind of catch her vibe or whatever. And it is really funny. And I don't want you to think I'm stalking you because I keep liking everything.
Oh, no. Please like.
Okay. But you should definitely check out her Instagram. And are you on Twitter also?
I am on Twitter. I am Katrina_Nelson. Everything is my name, Katrina Nelson. You can look me up. There is another Katrina Nelson that is in LA, which is so funny. I used to get her mail. And then I met her and started working with her.
Wow.
I worked with her. She's a beautiful, tall, white girl named Katrina Nelson, who's actually from Maryland. So it was so funny. It was so randomly funny. Cause
that is.
I think on IMDb, one of her credits was on my credits. And I was like, I never played a dead person. Like, who the hell is this? Like, who is this? Like, I'm not dead. Like,
okay.
But it's funny because she had auditioned for the web series Breaking Point, and I met her, and I had to call her and tell her to come in for the audition. I'm like, hey, Katrina, this is Katrina.
Oh, cool.
We would love for you to come in and audition. So, and then I got to meet her, and she's a wonderful person.
Okay, so we've got your social media down. Do you have a website?
I do, KatrinaNelson.com.
Okay, this is getting too easy.
It's very easy. I wanted to make it so easy. It's just my first name, my last name, and yeah.
Okay, now before we go, tell me something that you're excited about that has nothing to do with film, television, or comedy.
I'm having sex again! Can I get the clap?
Wait, let me see if I can do it fast enough. Okay.
Quick before you go, I know you only have a few seconds, but I have been celibate, and I probably shouldn't tell everybody, but it's in my jokes. I've been celibate for like 11 years.
Oh, God, wait.
Purposely, though. Purposely. Mm-hmm. So, like I said, I was married, I got divorced, and then I was just like, because the last piece I had was trash, so I was like, let me just sit this one out for a minute. But the minute turned into a year, and then the year turned into 5 years, and 5 years turned into 10, and then 11. I'm like, shit, what the fuck happened? Like, I just looked up and like, shit, it's been 11 years. Like, what the hell?
Wow.
And so I'm having sex again. It's great, so.
Oh, I'm out.
And if you get to hear this podcast, just make sure that it stays great.
Okay, so I have to go now. But I'm so mad that she told us this at the end because I have questions. I'm like,
you gotta have me back.
Does he have friends? And does he live in Los Angeles? Because if he does, I'm surprised. But, oops. Okay, sorry, you guys. Listen, this has been super duper fun. I thank you so much, Katrina.
Thank you for having me.
For coming in. I thank you guys for listening. I meant to do some shout outs to people who've been calling me and texting me and stuff like that. I will have to do that after the next one, but I just want you to know that I appreciate y'all. I appreciate the feedback because it's just me and I'm like, I think it's cool. So
no, this is great.
Thank y'all. So anyway, till the next time, Directing Magic. Say it for me.
Directing Magic.
Thank you. Podcast. Check us out. Instagram, Twitter, all that good stuff.
You've been listening to Directing Magic with Marquette Jones. Be sure to visit directingmagic.com for past episodes and other information relating to the show. Also, be sure to subscribe and rate and comment on iTunes. Until next time, bye-bye.